Scott, you're an investigative reporter from the Washington Post, and you were dealing with the difficult cases of investigating your own security service, Homeland Security in the U.S., Abu Ghraib. This isn't, especially the Abu Ghraib story, it's kind of an old story, so we knew that there was abuse by the U.S. Army in the prison in Iraq. If you speak about the investigation of the Abu Ghraib, that was kind of like game changer, because there was still, when this story had been brought to the light, there was still the U.S. tried to play this, the good power, which, tried to, we're speaking about the freedom, speaking about the democracy, and it was kind of an evidence, that how many wrongdoings the Bush administration had been doing there. Later there was a Guantanamo. But with this kind of investigation, what was the impact? Had it changed the way the Army operating, especially in these sensitive cases of dealing with the suspect terrorists? What are still the practices which are existing, and what are maybe the government had to respond and to stop?
Our investigation showed that the abuse at Abu Ghraib and at Guantanamo Bay was much deeper and broader than was previously disclosed. So the administration at the time said that the Abu Ghraib abuses and the abuses at Guantanamo were isolated incidents, and they were confined to just a small band of Army men and women, but that wasn't really the case. And when we were able to get access to all of the documents and all of the photographs and the internal investigations, we quickly realized that this was part of a concerted effort by the military and by the CIA to break down these detainees and to try to get as much information as possible out of them. Pleaded with us not to publish it. They believed that the military was going to be at risk if we published this information, and we decided to go ahead and publish it because we believe that what the military was doing, a lot of the military lawyers and a lot of the people in the military felt that had crossed the line, and that by torturing detainees was a violation of the Geneva Conventions, and by doing that we were putting our own servicemen and women at risk if they ever got caught or captured, that they would be tortured as well. So in a way, we felt that we were doing a public service by exposing this.
Were the people punished in the end? Because there is always the case. There is a big story in the media, there are a lot of talks, and then there is a long court hearing, and sometimes these cases are kind of dropped from public memory.
Right. So a small band of people were convicted of crimes for abusing the prisoners, but the people up the chain of command were not held accountable. And to this day, they've never been held accountable. I think it's absolutely outrageous, because these are the people who were responsible for the command and control of Abu Ghraib. They're responsible for the men and women under their command, and they should be held accountable just like anybody else should be held accountable.
Are there any tools which you are following that the law enforcement agencies could really implement in order to be more, let's say, accountable, be more transparent? It's really the difficult situation. We understand we are in a country in a war where there is a security threat, where you definitely sometimes talking to, the criminals or suspect terrorists. So there is a chance to cross the line. So what are practices maybe had been enforced and might be enforced that this line, it's more difficult for them to cross?
We have whistleblower protections in our country. So a whistleblower is somebody who comes forward, blows the whistle and says, I am a witness to crime, I'm a witness to wrongdoing, I'm a witness to corruption. And so we have some processes that are in place that protect people who do that. In the military, they're not that strong. And so I think strengthening those protections so that it not only encourages people to come forward when they see wrongdoing, but protects them from retaliation when they come forward and report wrongdoing.
How common is the practice of the cover-up in law enforcement? How common is this idea of whistleblowing? The officer would, cover the soldier, and the general would cover the officer.
The person who reported the Abu Ghraib abuse was not protected, and his life was threatened. He had to move his family. He had to leave the town that he grew up in. So his identity was actually disclosed by the then Secretary of the Defense. Hopefully we've learned from that and we protect these people. It's really important to protect them when they come forward.
You know, how would you explain the relations of your investigative unit, of Washington Post investigative unit, with the the security services like NSA? Papers like the Washington Post, they're independent, but they're close to government. The government usually needs them. You have the press corps. You do a lot of stories. You need to have the interview the top officials. So at the same time, they need these papers. At the same time, there is an investigative unit which digs into this heart of the system and does something they would really dislike. Mm-hmm. So there is this kind of a general brand of Washington Post and investigative unit. So how you build the relations?
Our newsroom is completely independent of the government.
Yeah.
And we do not cooperate with them. We do not share information with them. We see ourselves as a check and a balance on the power of the government. None of our reporters would ever compromise their positions or their integrity to get access to a story. And if somebody doesn't want to give us access to something and they want something in return, we don't do deals like that. We will walk away from it. And if somebody denies us access, sometimes it's almost a badge of honor, and we are able to get the information in other ways.
The security service always put this argument that it's about security. How you answer this question for yourself? Where are the cases where you have doubts? Would you endanger really? Are you going too far? How you and your journalist, what are red lines for you?
So it is a balancing act. And so we always listen very carefully to the intelligence services. Sometimes the White House will contact our top editors. Sometimes the head of the CIA or NSA will contact our top editors. In the case of Abu Ghraib, the Secretary of Defense and his people contacted our top editors. And so we will always listen to them. We'll ask them why they believe that the disclosure of this information is perilous to maybe people in the field. Maybe it would expose methods and sources. Maybe it might expose intelligence agents and get them killed. We obviously don't want to do anything that's going to expose ongoing investigations or expose intelligence sources. So we'll always listen to them, and then we decide what we think is the most important thing for our readers.